through. Thank you so much. You really rock. Like, definitely leave a let's leave a sword emoji in the comments if you resonate with this super magical message today. All right, and then I know that you actually made it this far, and I really appreciate your engagement. If you're catching the shorter form version of this, you know I appreciate you too. The contribution to the channel does help it grow, and I am building spiritual community here, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Hopefully I'll get to chat with some of you on the live premiere of this reading. All right, one last message, Spirit, and then we're going to move on. The Seven of Pentacles. It's time to invest in what you are building and also have patience for that which you've built. For some of you that are manifesting, let it go, walk away. I know it's harder, but it's a skill that you can hone eventually. Eventually you learn how to live in non-attachment. Therefore, that which you put out there comes back to you easily and effortlessly. Okay? So some of you practice on finding ways to focus on other things you can invest in while your manifestations are coming in, while the fruits of your labor are getting ready to bloom. Okay? I hope that helped everyone. If you would like to stay for a read on the archetypes deck, which is what I seem to be pulling, please do. For those of you that are interested in some of the channeled angel numbers, songs, other signs and synchronicities I read into before I began this reading, I will mention those here shortly. And perhaps something about it will give you a synchronicity that will show you that this reading is really for you. You can confirm it, you can claim it in the reading, in the comments. Also, a side message as I shuffle archetypes here. For those of you that didn't catch the last message, I did clip one of the parts of the last message in it about this beautiful divine union. And I don't know if those of you that have been following me know that my messages tend to go deeper down the rabbit hole later in the message. I think that's a way of Spirit kind of weeding out the more mundane folk who the messages are not meant for. So we do tend to get a lot more woo-woo the deeper we go into the message. But this is coming up because I clipped one of my quotes from a channeled message from that reading. And the quote was, and this is pinned in the comments of the last blog that has this reading shared with the shorter form messages, the last message. Sorry if that's confusing, but hang with me. I got a lot of energy coursing through me all of a sudden. This song by Tool is talking about the shadow, okay? 46 and 2 is the song. Could be relevant to some. It's one of my favorite old songs. But, oh my God, so are you kidding me? I just split the deck to the shadow and the hunter. Wow, I just got chills. Whoo! The vessel and gnosis below that. Okay, wow, this is powerful, whatever this is coming in. Okay, so the name of that clip was You Prayed for a Love That Would Love Your Shadow. If that sentence rings true to you, check out the last full form reading or the last 2 videos in the 4-part series, okay? Go to the community blog. It's the last post before this one. But we just pulled the shadow and the hunter. I mean, you can't make that up. That's beautiful when that happens. And then the vessel and gnosis, it's like someone has been looking for somebody to hold this kind of knowledge. Well, by all means, if this message made you feel inspired, made you feel some sense of deeper meaning, I am so grateful that you are here. I really hope you subscribe because, you know, the older I get, the more woo-woo we go. And I'm totally okay. I've reclaimed that word woo-woo. I don't care if people have a negative connotation with it. It's beautiful. It is the deep. It is the hidden. It is the unknown. And I am here to channel it to y'all. So, I was going to do a psychic read on these cards, but it feels like Spirit really wants me to read from the book, The Shadow, which is XXB123, so that would be 28. 28. So the number 28 could be significant. The number 10, 1, 0, 2, or 8. Interesting. Partnership, abundance, completion, new beginnings. And I just opened the book to the vow card. Some kind of promise. Something you've been looking for here with the hunter. Again, as I was just saying with that quote from my reading, was you prayed for a love that would be kind to your shadow. You have been looking for this for a long time. I feel like this is a side separate message for any of you who were here from the last reading that were more interested in a divine love message. This is just for you, it seems. And I thank you for, if you did actually just sit through that entire reading. Wow, thank you so much for still being here. I know so many people just don't have the patience to enjoy this, but this is an experience. This isn't a product, you know what I mean? I've said before and I'll say it again, I'm here to create, not to supply readings. So the shadow, it's on page 116 and 117. So January 16th, January 17th could be significant. 11 could be significant. That's the number of Metatron, Archangel Metatron. I do work with archangels along with other gods and goddesses and creatures and fairies and all that. So like, anyways, 11, Metatron. That can also represent union, and like what's beyond a new beginning, right? 6, 7, that's a progression. The year 67 could be significant. January 6th or January 7th could also be significant. Number 13 could be significant. Karmic cycles could be significant. Divine feminine, luck, that could all be significant. All right, now from the book, I don't typically read the entire page because I like to encourage people to go out and purchase these decks. And for those of you that don't know, the Archetypes deck is phenomenal. Kim Kranz did such an amazing, she's got multiple other decks. Eventually I plan to get the Alchemy deck as well. So for those of you that enjoy these kinds of more spiritual channeled messages I do with this deck, just you wait. Just you wait. That's going to be fun. I'll eventually gift myself that deck, or, you know, I don't mention this too often, but I do have donation links in the description box, and everything you contribute, I do actually put back into the channel. So thank you. That's how I was able to get the Luna Editions deck and get myself a microphone. You know, my channel's small, but, you know, we're going to see where we go with this. So thank you if you decide to contribute. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, so I'm not going to read the whole page, but let's see what stands out to me. So it's the unspeakable, the unwelcome, and the denied. Woohoo! We really are getting into the shadow here. Alright, on the side here. Interesting. Contemplate the following scientific observation. The closer an object, a person, place, or community is to the light, the longer the shadow it casts. Okay, well that was very specific to this group. Interesting. Some of you have very high standards, and remember the precedents that you are setting in your community. That's all I'm going to say about that. Over here we have, says, in the shadow of the gods are the very gods themselves. Huh. Reflect on this statement by James Hillman in A Blue Fire. What do you despise about yourself? By answering, you move towards shadow. And I will add, darlings, that when you move through the shadow, eventually you also find the light again. So for those of you that are afraid of getting lost in the shadow, perhaps it's not about being afraid of your shadow, but actually learning who your shadow is. And the only way you can do that is by going within, by looking at your behavior, by sometimes, again, with this perspective change, like we were talking about with the first quote here in this book, is about expanding beyond the perspective of what's good and bad and just doing what's right and fair and balanced. That's true justice, right? Justice isn't all light or all dark. It's being able to maintain that neutral ground and to access each appropriate energy at the appropriate time in the appropriate way. That's true alchemy. Eat the appropriate. I just got 2 downloads on that. On the dark is energy vampirism, and on the light is I just had it. Where did it go? Maybe I'm not supposed to talk about that. Oh, okay. On the light is sin eaters. Look into the mythology of sin eating. It's very interesting, especially with Celtic communities. For those of you that have seen the show Outlander, which, by the way, love that freaking show. And I do need to read the books, but I love everything about that as an herbalist and a witch, and I love the time travel and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, I'm going off on a nerd tangent. There is, I believe, I want to say it's season 6 or something, where there is an actual portrayal of a sin eater at the church. So those of you that have seen it, you can drop a comment and confirm and go more into it, start a conversation or something. But that's coming through for some reason, because, it's like the light and the shadow of energy consumption, right? There are those that may look like they are of the light who will drain your light by stealing your energy. And then there are those that are of the light, but they look like they are of shadow, who will take negative energy to heal you. And I just got chills. So remember that. That's significant for some of you in your healing process, okay? And if you'd like to work one-on-one with me, receive more guidance, right now I'm just doing some pre-recorded readings and occasionally rare live over-the-phone slots, but we're building something here. We're building a community, so definitely keep following, All right, so let me see what else is in this book, if there's anything else, and then we're going to wrap it up. The song is called Mirror World by The Shroud. The Shroud, are you kidding me? By the way, that's an amazing goth band that I absolutely love that not a lot of people know about. The Mirror World, okay? Some of you are mirrors, some of you are empaths, some of you are activators. We talked about that a little bit at the end of the last reading, who are considered more divine and with a higher purpose in the spiritual world. Some of you reflect back other people's shadow. I personally am somebody who does this as a psychic medium empath. I didn't know I was doing it my whole life, and I will go into that more some other time. I also do occasional freeform, uncut audio documentaries, and I go into everything. All right, I'm an advocate also for wellness as far as mindfulness and emotional intelligence and coping through life, keeping your balance, okay? But I'm not a medical or mental health professional, so definitely seek those out if you feel like you need them while you're doing this work. You can also go to other spiritual communities. If you aren't on the woo-woo, but you're very intrigued by this message, there's other spiritual counseling and ways that you can access this. You can do this by Getting into something artistic, something tangible. You can channel the shadow through artwork, through music, through writing, through some kind of self-expression that pulls your inside out. Does that make sense? Okay. So you're not limited, whoever you are. You have many options, especially in this world. If there's one thing that most of us have, especially in America, it's choices. You may be overwhelmed by those choices, but you start discovering who you are by knowing what you like and what you don't like, and then you can go deeper from there. Okay? And you're not alone. You're never alone. Spirit is always with us, and you will find your soul family if you haven't yet. A lot of people I work with are going through spiritual awakenings, are having a second or a third or a fourth one. I personally have had 3 and a recent massive ascension, which I won't go into. I'm not ready to talk about it. But you all are working with these kinds of energies, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's who this message is for. If you are a mirror and you weren't aware, 9 to 9 on my clock, by the way, that's ascension, that's graduations, especially with partnerships, unity, some kind of ending. So some of you are at the verge of coming out of some kind of ascension, and you have some kind of unity that you can go to with this, whether that's someone like me who is a guide that you receive some kind of message from that helps you keep going strong, or it could be with spirit, or it could be with a partner, it could be with your crafts. You could deeply bond with your crafts, and it could bring out different parts of yourself. You could be coming into unity with the divine masculine and feminine of your own self. There's so many possibilities. I don't feel like I should read any more from the shadow. In fact, I feel like we should really leave it there. And I thank you everyone for being here today, truly. It blew me away how much support our community received in the last week. I've been working diligently for 6 years to build this community, and it wasn't until the last year that I fully stepped up to my purpose. And I've got a Taurus North node, so I am very slow moving in my approach, but I am on my destined path, and I am here to help guide and lead others from a higher spiritual perspective. And seeing the fruits of my labor come in, I'm getting a little weepy. I'm going to try not to get all sappy, but when I say I appreciate you, I freaking mean it, guys. So thank you. And for every one of you who blesses others, may you be blessed. And have a wonderful week.